Welcome back to the James Rambling Reviews for yet another episode. In today's episode, I just want to say this first and foremost, thank you Tom Cruise, it's been an absolute pleasure. If this really is the final Mission Impossible movie, I think we've went off on the highest of notes we could have ever asked for, because welcome back to the review show, the James Rambling Reviews. Today's video we're talking about Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, and before I get into how I feel about this movie, what I would give out of 10 and stuff like that, this will be a non-spoiler review because I don't want to spoil this movie. It just came out. You've got to experience this on the biggest screen possible, or like me where I saw it in 4DX and things like that, so there's all of that. But just so you know, I have seen these movies before. I do enjoy them all in certain different ways, and how one movie does another thing a certain way, and how there's all these different stunts and everything. But we're not going to compare the entire franchise. I don't actually have all the time in the world right now to go back and rewatch the entire franchise, to go back and compare every movie. But I've done a couple of videos where I talked about the original Mission Impossible last night, or Mission Impossible 7 originally went closer to when it originally first came out. So there's all of that. So you know what this movie is about it's the final chapter in the Mission Impossible franchise, where you've got Ethan Hunt, right, and his team, and they've got to take out the last bad guy in this entire kind of Mission Impossible experience. It's pretty much like a follow-on from Dead Reckoning and the Entity and the AI, and you've got Gabriel in the mix. There's all like that. It's on for 2 hours and 50 minutes, and I'm not going to try and spoil everything, but that's probably the best way I'm going to describe it. So the first thing I'm going to say is that this has been a pleasure, Tom Cruise, because this might be going down as one of my favourite movies of 2025. And the first thing that just came to mind with this movie is that it really is feeling like the biggest Mission Impossible movie. It's not like one of these things where it's like it says it's big and all of that and it actually isn't. Well, in this case it actually is big, and it actually really is. You can actually feel the stakes. You can feel the size of this movie, as you've got really a lot of emotional tension here, where I didn't even expect myself to cry this much in the cinema. Like, see me, I don't cry a lot in a movie, so when it does that, you know I'm actually having it. I'm actually getting something out of this. Like, the first while about one of the characters, that what happens to one of the characters, I'm like, oh no. I'm just crying, trying to rub away all the tears as much as possible, because I just feel the tension rising in my eyes, and I'm just like, yeah, absolutely, I'm absolutely in for this one. On top of this, you have got some of the best action set pieces within cinema history for 2025, because I know I'm exaggerating, but there is some really good stunts in this movie. I will not lie to you, like the underwater sequence, or the plane stunt towards the end of the movie, which we're not going to spoil because you need to watch the movie to understand what that all means. But these are the kind of things I really do appreciate Tom Cruise for, is that this is a guy that's like 61, 62 years old, and he's doing stunts, death-defying stunts. Like, it's crazy how he can just come back and do these stunts again and again and give their fans what they want. And what I do also appreciate about this movie, without spoiling, is that it does actually do a good job to send off the franchise. There is kind of Easter eggs and sort of like cameos and flashbacks, and you could be like arguing, oh, it's nostalgia bait, oh, it's trying to get yourself invested in the memories because that's all they can think of. But it genuinely does serve a lot of purpose in the movie when you watch it, because it really does do a good job of this. I just feel like it has emotional tension to it. There's emotional depth. You feel for the characters. It's probably the most emotional Mission Impossible movie that ever was, and I think for this movie, if you're going to send off the franchise, yeah, this is how you do it. This is how you actually do it. However, there's a couple of scenes where I was like, you know what you're getting yourself into here. There's going to be a bit of plot armor. There's going to be a convenience where a character gets out of a situation because the plot said so, right? There's things like that in this movie where you're like, of course, it has to happen. But other than that, this movie flies by. The action sequences are amazing. You could argue, well, there's moments where the characters are stopping to talk and all of that, but I was immersed in actually most of this movie. You know, I could switch my brain off. I could have a good time, because you don't come to Mission Impossible for Dune type levels of storytelling or Lord of the Rings type of storytelling. You come for big action spectacle, big entertainment value with Tom Cruise doing stunts and the characters and all of that. So yeah, I'd probably give this movie like a solid 9.5 out of 10. Like, I've seen some couple clips about reviews about how this movie's disappointing. It's not what they were expecting from a Mission Impossible movie. And I've got to say to that, like, where were you, what planet were you on there? Because I really did not get the same experience as other people through this film. I really had a good time, you know. And honestly, with the 4DX experience, I forgot to mention this, that I did see the film in 4DX. I think I mentioned it briefly at the start of the video, but 4DX, I did it with Revenge of the Sith 20-year anniversary, but for Mission Impossible, where you feel like the plane is right there and your seat is moving up and down like that, right, like that, you feel like you're right inside of the film. And I do appreciate the opening of the movie where Tom Cruise thanks the fans for coming to see the film. Like, oh, that's great. My mum and dad also had a fun time with 4DX, and I think 4DX just gets better every time I use it. Like, I've only used it a couple of times now after watching this movie, but it really is a fun experience. And there's even times where I just let my legs fly, let my legs hang out, because I'm just having a blast during this movie. No point did I check the time, no point was I bored. There's a couple of scenes I wasn't very, didn't care much for, but I was just learning to realise, well, a movie going experience isn't about going there and overthinking every little detail and every little scene. That's not how you watch a movie. You're there to enjoy the ride that you're on. You're there to enjoy the experience that you've paid for, and I've absolutely done that with this movie. And thank you, Tom Cruise. It has been a pleasure, and without saying, right, this video is going to self-destruct in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning review is coming out now. Bye!